the number of different synthetic chemical compounds that are known to be carcinogenic, but are nonetheless used as pesticides, preservatives, or food additives is tiny compared to the number of non-synthetic carcinogenic compounds widely found in plants and animals. It is therefore absurd to suppose that the rise in the cancer rate in recent decades is due to synthetic carcinogens. It is therefore
Excellent. So what is our conclusion here?
that it is therefore absurd to suppose that. I feel like his opinion is the very last sentence. That it's
Excellent.
absurd to suppose that the rise in cancer rates.
So why is he saying that? What is his support for this?
What is that? There's an it would be, but his support would be that there's a number of different synthetic compounds that are used as pesticides, preservatives, and food additives in extremely tiny compared to the non-synthetic ones that are found in plants and animals.
Yeah. So like we're like, hey, these different chemical compounds that are known to cause cancer are used in pesticides, food preservatives, and food additives in these like really small amounts compared to the number of like non-synthetic things that are found in plants and animals. So we're like, so it would be crazy to say these things are actually causing cancer but what is the issue here? Is this a valid argument?
No, because he's kind of differentiating synthetic with non-synthetic.
Yeah, like there could be a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. This happens all the time on the test where they're like, we're comparing two things that like cannot be compared. It's not comparing apples to oranges. So we're like, hey, the synthetic chemical compounds versus non-synthetic. Excellent.
Then the reasoning above is most vulnerable to criticisms on the ground that it overlooks the possibility that the rising cancer rate in recent decades is due to increased exposure to non-synthetic pollutants. No, I don't like A.
Excellent.
And the rising cancer rate in recent decades is due to something other than increased exposure to carcinogens. Then I feel like B is out of scope a little bit.
Yeah, we're not trying to prove what's causing it or not causing it. We're just trying to show why this is not a good reason to say that it's not the cause. Excellent.
Then C, some synthetic chemical compounds that are not known to be carcinogenic are in other respects toxic. Not known to be carcinogenic. So I was a little iffy with C, but I ended up saying no to this one because it just seems too out there. So no.
Like so just because one thing that is at least one synthetic chemical compound that are not known to be cancerous are toxic in other respects, that we're just talking about the cancer rate. So we don't care about them being toxic in another respect.
Mm-hmm. Then D, people undergo significantly less exposure to carcinogens that are not synthetic than those that are synthetic. So I like D.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept D. Then E, people can vary greatly in their susceptibility to cancer caused by non-synthetic carcinogens. So I kept E as well.
Okay.
I think my first time I went with E, mainly because I felt that
Mm-hmm.
it would, because they're just assuming that the cancer rate is that there is no correlation.
The fact that people can vary greatly in their susceptibility, though, is that what is that overlooked? Is that the problem? No, it's irrelevant that people can vary greatly in their susceptibility, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Our concerns is what are the possible causes of the cancer rates? It has nothing to do with like, oh, you're more likely to get cancer than I am.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
So then why is D the correct answer?
Yeah. So then I went with D for my blind review one. It says people undergo significantly less exposure to carcinogens that are not synthetic than those that are synthetic. So this would be the correct answer because it's assuming that, well, the author is assuming that people get the same carcinogens from synthetic compounds than they do from non-synthetic ones. Whereas if people are getting less exposure to the non-synthetic ones, then the synthetic carcinogens must be the cause of the cancer.
Excellent.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Okay.
And we're like, hey, like we're not talking about the numbers talking about here. We're talking about the exposure. So you're focusing on the wrong issue.
Okay, that makes sense then.